Hey y'all. So I wanted to get a little up close and personal with you guys in this introduction episode, just so that we can be here with each other. For my listeners, I am super close to the camera right now. Y'all can pretty much see at least my whole face. um, I am going to be 100% honest, transparent with you all this whole time. But just to start off, I am literally recording this introduction episode a day before the podcast drops. And I wanted to share this with y'all to just be like, listen, it's been a long time coming with Candid Kick-Its, okay? This has really been a huge step up for me. I am definitely somebody who I feel like I get very in my head and I beat myself up. I'm very hard on myself. I'm very critical when it comes to my work. And so it's been a lot of internal battles for me when it came to doing this work. So I really wasn't even going to do an introduction episode. But I was like, you know what? I want to talk about me, and I want to talk about why this podcast is happening and why it's so important to me. So here we are. So just to run it back, to give y'all like background on me, who I am, what I'm about. My name is Alana Davis, and I am from Columbus, Ohio. I'm born and raised here. I actually spent the first 9 years of my life in Pickerington, Ohio, with my mom and my dad, Kim and Chris, and my brother, Algernon, AJ, as we call him, and Catrice, my sister, my older sister. And we lived there until I was about 9. Then my parents separated, and my mom moved us to like near Independence area. I know, like, I can't think of the street right now. I believe it's Refugee. Like, we was kind of in that area for a little while. Then we moved deeper into Groveport, and that was hard. It was just kind of far. I already went to a charter school, and so I already went to a charter school. I really wasn't an outside kid. Like, after my parents divorced and we moved, I hated going outside. So I was just very to myself. And it wasn't really until I got to Eastmore in high school that I was able to kind of submerge myself in the city. Just because I never went to public schools growing up. And when I got to Eastmore, we actually moved to the north side. So I live near Easton. And I was able to kind of like, so I have a god sister who she has lived East 22nd her whole life. And was able to hang out with her more because we were a lot closer. And she's very much in the mix of the city. And so I was able to kind of do a little more and get my feet wet a little bit. But I've always wanted to leave Ohio. I never wanted to be here. Growing up, I always wanted to be an actress. I've always wanted to sing. I've always wanted to do something artsy. And I was like, I can't do that in Ohio. So my plan was to move to California, of course. But when I got to high school, I fell in love with HBCUs. And I was like, I gotta go to Howard. Of course, I had to go to Howard. And I'm gonna be real, y'all. I like school. Like, I'm pretty good at school. I like to learn. And so I had pretty good grades. You know, I worked really hard. I got decent ACT scores, whatever. And every school I had applied to at that point, I had gotten into. And so I'm like, you know what? I got this in the bag. It's easy. And it came back that I didn't get into Howard. And it was the only school that I hadn't got into out of all the schools I applied to, except Spelman. They waitlisted me. But I was just like, you know, I took it as a sign that that wasn't where I was supposed to be. And so I ended up going to Clark Atlanta University. And I was there my whole freshman year. And y'all, it was a wild ride. It was a good time. I definitely started to find myself when I left home. It was my first time being away from home. I never really had been away from my mama for that long. So I was kind of able to just really do my own thing. But it got hard because I was so far from my family. Like, in my spring semester, my mom had a heart attack. My brother graduated from high school, and my sister had a baby, like all in the same time frame. And I just kind of had like that, what is it, the FOMO, that feeling of missing out. Yeah, I kind of had like a moment where I was just like, dang, like I'm missing everything. And then at the same time, my mom was paying for me to go to Clark out of pocket every month, like $1,100, plus paying for my brother to go to Catholic school. So I was like, you know what? It's not even worth it. It doesn't even matter how much Ohio State's going to cost. I know it's going to be a lot cheaper than going there. So I came home, and I'm not gonna lie, that was hard as shit. That was hard. I did not enjoy my first semester here. I ended up going to Columbus State, and I really, really like Columbus State. But transferring to OSU was not fun. It has not been fun. It still isn't fun, and I'm just ready for my degree. But after I came home, I got into like my ancestry, and I started learning all this different stuff about myself, like my origins, where my family comes from. And that got me into some real spiritual stuff. And, you know, I kind of dip and dab in this. Well, dip and dab. I literally have a whole episode about spirituality with one of my guests. And that's why I don't really want to talk too much about it here. But I just really kind of got into my spiritual vibe. And after that, it was just kind of like we was just going from there. And it's been a journey. It's been a lot of up and down with spirituality, a lot of learning and unlearning and relearning a bunch of different things. And moving into spirituality moved me into astrology. Yes, I'm an astrology person. If you are not an astrology person at this point in life, in the pandemic, in the race war, with the politics and all this mess, I don't know what to tell you, because you ain't even looking. Like, you're not even paying attention. But for all of my astrology people, I will give y'all my big three. I am an Aquarius sun. My people that's watching, an Aquarius sun, a Libra moon, and a Cancer rising. So if you know anything about that, then that I just gave y'all a little more about me. And I love astrology. I think it's so interesting, and to me, it makes a lot of sense. And a lot of times I find myself connecting to astrology and connecting my astrology into my spirituality, and just kind of like I'm finding my way when it comes to the things that I believe in. So we're still working on that, but it's a big part of who I am. And I wanted to share that because I am a very spiritual being. I do believe that I am a spirit inhabiting an earthly vessel, and I'm having an earthly experience. So and I'm a firm believer of that. And I just, wanted to share that with y'all, because I think that spirituality is so important. And I think a lot of us struggle with spirituality because we're so caught up on being religious and caught up on following rules and regulations and certain things like that. And I don't want to disrespect nobody's religion, because that's not me. I feel like you believe what you believe, because we all got to get through the day. We all got to believe in something. You got to believe in something. I feel. And so I would never knock anybody for believing in anything different than what I do. And I still refer to God as God, because that's what I've always known God to be. But yeah. So believe what you want, but that's just my take on that part. So let's talk about the podcast. Let's move off of me. Let's talk about the actual show. So Candid Kick-It it's actually been a really long journey. It has been in the making for about a year, I want to say. And then the idea initially came to me because my mom had me and one of my friends sit down and watch a TD Jakes interview about his book Sword. And it was about an hour. It was about 40 minutes to an hour long. I definitely would try to link it for y'all, because I think it was an amazing interview. And it was very inspirational, especially for people in their 20s. So I would definitely try to link it for y'all. But she had to sit down and take notes the whole time. And I was just writing all these different things he was saying, just about, really running after the things you want in your 20s. Because by the time you hit your 30s, 40s, 50s, you're not really going to have that same drive. You're not really going to go as hard. And he was just talking about, how God provides you with things so that you can build the thing that you want. So it's like, basically he was talking about how people be mad at God People are mad at God when he gives you a tree to build a table instead of giving you the table. And I just really thought that was like moving, because, you know, and that's another thing. I seen another post. I just love quotes, y'all. I love quotes. I love analogies, because that's how I understand stuff. But somebody has said, God could literally give you the flour, eggs, bowl, spoon, like all this stuff to make a cake. And you could literally leave the kitchen because it wasn't already in the pan ready to go. And I definitely agree that sometimes we really we have a lot of faith, but we don't work. And so that was a whole side note, y'all. Let me just get back to the point. So I watched this TD Jakes interview, and I came to this space of wanting to do a podcast because I felt like I had important stuff to say, and I wanted to help people my age. Like, I really care about helping people. That's something that has always been a part of like my essence of who I truly am, that I love helping people. And so I was like, okay, well, what can I create that would help people like me? And I was like, boom, a podcast about mastering your 20s. I'm like, yes, that's a good idea. And the subtitle was figuring out your shit, because I was like, listen, we don't even know what we're doing out here. And I'm like, you know, writing stuff down. I'm looking up things, researching stuff. I'm talking to people about like, what do they want to see in the community? I'm really like doing this work. And then I got in my head, and I got in this space of like, how the hell am I going to make a podcast about mastering my 20s when I'm only 21 and I ain't mastered shit? So I kind of like went back to the drawing board, and I put a pin in the idea for about a year because I also, and I'm not going to lie, this is something that I had to move past, and I'm going to be real because I'm human. I wanted to do a podcast and I wanted it to be profitable as well. And I had kind of realized that the podcast wouldn't necessarily be as profitable as I wanted it to be. And I was like, well, I ain't doing that right now. I'm gonna learn how to do nails or something. Because at the time I was working a job that I literally hated, and I wanted something that would take me away from that. And so now when Candid Kick-It came back around, it was like in the middle, not really in the middle of the pandemic, kind of at the beginning, where I was like, I could do my podcast now. And I just started, I don't know, like, I think it literally started, like, the thoughts really started rolling in after the passing of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, technical language here. And I really just wanted to do something for the Black community specifically. And I was like, you know what can I do? What can I do that hasn't already been done? Or what can I do that isn't too much or that isn't enough? Like, you know, at the end of the day, yes, I'm a Black woman and I'm in the community, but it's very touchy regardless of who you are, because everybody is sensitive to this shit. So I didn't want to do anything that was like, what, or crazy, like, you know, whatever. So I decided to do this podcast, and the original idea was to uplift Black businesses. And this idea actually came from Jamel Tuff, who is one of my guests on this session, if I can speak. He is one of my guests. He inspired this because I have known Jamel since about 2012. And ever since I've known him, he's always had a business, I feel like. Or at least since he's graduated high school, because he graduated in 2015. I'm like, this dude sells, like, he has his fast lane crew. He is also a car detailer, and he also sells plates. Like, I don't know, but it all came to me, and I just was thinking about how Black people, we do anything, and we can do anything. And it just really made me think, like, how do I showcase that? You know, how do I uplift that we are literally so versatile. Like, we could do anything. And so that was like the original idea. It was meant to uplift Black businesses and just talk about, like, you know, get people to come in and talk about the origin of their businesses, why they decided to do this, and where they wanted things to go. And then as time moved forward, I started to realize that, I did like a question on Instagram, and I asked people what did they want to hear on a podcast if I did, you know, open it up. And I had all these different ideas, like about hair and music and family stuff and just all these different things that people wanted to talk about. And I realized that the Black people that I know specifically have a lot to say, and they have a lot that they want to talk about, but there's no space for it to be done. So then it shifted to not only just uplifting Black businesses, but also uplifting Black culture, Black experiences, putting our real life shit at the forefront of the conversation, because I feel like the issue is there's not enough understanding about the Black experience. There's not enough understanding about who we are as people and why we are the way we are, why we move the way we move. And so I just, wanted to kind of get into that space of opening up the conversation. And, I want to be a resource for people who may not have a full understanding of what it's like to be a Black or brown person, or who may want to connect to Black and brown people, want to connect to different businesses and stuff. So I just want to, I kind of created Candid Kick-It, not for me, just for everybody else. It's for me because, essentially I want this to become bigger, and I want it to take off in a sense. Like I'm not really pressed about being famous or about this becoming a huge thing or whatever. I am doing this because I think it's important for us to talk. I think it's important to have conversation. I think it's important for us to know who is in our community. Like I definitely, not in this session, but definitely in the next session, I want to push myself to try to bring in people that I don't necessarily know personally, or that other people may not know, who may not be as like prominent in the community or whatever, because I think that's the issue, is that a lot of times those people who are prominent get pushed up, and it's like everybody else is kind of like getting lost in the sauce. And I want to make sure that everybody has a chance, which I know I can't interview every Black person in Columbus. I know that I can't sit down with every Black person, but I want to try and get people in this space that represent all of the different kinds of Black and brown people that we have in our community. So that is like what the show is supposed to be doing. I just want to talk to y'all lastly about what Candid Kick-It has done for me so far, and I'm gonna go into a little bit, like run it back to my goals, my dreams, just so y'all can like, just to kind of close it out, I guess. So, actually, I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna do my wants and my dreams and goals, whatever, and then I'll talk about what Candid Kick-It has taught me. So right now I'm just winging it. I get my degree in December. I'm gonna have a degree in women's studies with a minor in film. I really want to write shows. I want to create content. I want to meet Issa Rae. I'm trying to be Issa Rae's mentee. Like, I am trying to really get out there, because I want to learn how to build the same type of I'm really trying to find the words. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to be Issa Rae, but that's essentially what it is for Columbus. I want to learn how to build my own production company, and kind of how she facilitates it and how they work as a collective. After following her for a little while, I noticed that like a lot of people she works with, she's been working with for almost 10 years now at this point. And I love that. I love that that loyalty, that dedication, that community building. I think is so important, and I want to learn how to implement that structure into my business at home. So that is like one of my biggest goals, is to get out there with her. And I cannot believe I just shared that, because I gotta share it to manifest it. I gotta speak it for it to come to life. So there it is. So I'm just hopeful that will get me there. And my ultimate goal, like my ultimate like dream that I really wish I could start like right after I graduated. I'm gonna like slowly move into it. I really, really want to start recreational art centers. Like So I was a Boys and Girls Club kid. I was a club kid growing up. I went to Milo Grogan. And I also worked at a Boys and Girls Club from 2017 to last August. So August of 2019. And damn, I love my club kids. Like, I love my club kids. And I want to try to provide more for them. So for me, like, seeing them, my kids, they are something else, y'all. They're a bomb. But I know that because of the circumstances they live under, like, I worked on the west side. I worked on the west side. So if you're familiar, I already know that the fact that I said that, I know some people gonna be like, what? But if you're familiar with the west side of Columbus, then you already know what type of shit my kids face every day. And I have like, it's so crazy because I did not want to work out there. I was like, oh, because the staff who hired me, well, the staff who was like placing me used to be my club staff when I was a kid. So I'm emailing her like, can you please move me to Milo? Like, I don't want to. And she's like, I don't have no room. And I was really against going out there. But when I tell y'all I went out there and never came back, I never wanted to go to another club. I never wanted to be anywhere else. I love those kids so much. And after working with them for so long, I realized that they want stuff. You know, they want more. They want to experience more. They want to see more. And it's not that they don't want to. They literally, a lot of them cannot. And it hurts for me because some of my club kids are so talented, like artists, drawing and writing, and they love to dance. They love music, like they love that stuff. And so I also thought about myself, like growing up as a kid, I didn't have a place as an artist that I can go and really develop my craft. I didn't have a mentor that saw me and was like, yeah, you're gonna be something one day. I want to help you. And so I really want to create a space where I really want it for my club kids, but you know, I want to create a space for all kids in my community to be able to go and develop their craft as artists from the time that they're little babies. Like, I want to serve 4 or 5 year olds all the way up until they're 18, and I kind of want to like implement like a volunteer program, and I want to like get some internships going and get some kids, you know, some jobs and stuff. Like, I really just want to provide more opportunities for young artists in my city. So that is the goal with my art center, and I plan to start this work very soon. So y'all just keep me in your prayers, because I feel like if once I open my art center, I don't need nothing else. I would be so content with life. I'm like, this is great. So I'm praying on that one. And I guess like my overall wants, I just like right now, I just want everybody to love themselves. And I know that sounds like, girl, what? But I say that because after everything that has happened this summer, with this year with the pandemic, and we've lost so many people in the Black community specifically, so many Black stars. I think that it's so important now more than ever to love yourself and to look out for yourself and to truly know yourself and understand who you want to be. And self-love is the best love, y'all. And once you are able to look inward and hold yourself accountable, it becomes easier for you to be a part of the community, because you're not always on defense mode. You're not always like, well, why they judging me? Why they think I'm doing this? I'm not doing that. And and it shifts your mindset from a me space to, well, I want to be more considerate of the people around me. You know, I don't want to just only care about myself. I don't want to be alone. You know, I don't want to be in this community alone. So I think that my biggest want right now is that I just want everybody to really look at themselves in the mirror and tell themselves they love themselves every day. Like, literally look yourself in the mirror for 5 minutes. It don't even gotta be a whole 5 minutes if you feel like doing 2, because it's kind of uncomfortable when you first do it. look yourself in the mirror and be like, I love you. You cute. You a great person. You have a nice personality. I love your hair today. You rock that. Like, you know, you gotta hype yourself. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, because we all know that you are your biggest critic. So why not flip it to being your biggest cheerleader? So that's something I've been working on, and I challenge all of y'all to work on that as well. And moving forward to what Candid Kick-It has taught me, and what it's done for me. Candid Kick-It has been a journey, and I have to do this because the Candid Kick-It would not be what it is without these hands. Me, my god sister Yana, who helped me paint the walls, my friend Dom, who was helping me paint walls and getting stuff. Yana was buying stuff, helping me buy stuff. And my friends, Janae, Janelle, Elijah, Caleb, Asha, Jalen, all of them was like supporting me in this. My mama let me, like, first of all, I'm definitely in our office. My mama's let me use our office space. My dad sent me money. My sister's been supporting me. My brother's been supporting me. My artists, Nisha and Carly, giving me art. Isaiah Ware has been giving me a whole bunch of resources. All my guests. I don't want to name all y'all because it's still a surprise. I want y'all to be surprised. But, you know, I really, really hope I didn't leave anybody out. But if I did, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you 1,000 times to everybody that has laid their hands on this project. Even if you were just like, Alana, you got this. Even if you reposted something, or if you just like, you know, I don't care what it was. Every little bit has meant so much to me. Like, the support, I don't know how this shit would have came to fruition. And I want to say, I guess I can say, well, no, I ain't saying that. I ain't saying it, because no, it's their fault we in this situation. But I am, at the end of the day, I'm thankful, not for the pandemic, but I'm thankful for the blessings I received in the pandemic. And I'm thankful that I utilized those blessings to bring my podcast to life. And that's how I'm gonna do that one. Candid Kick-It has taught me, and is still teaching me, patience and discipline. Those are my two. Patience and discipline. Just having patience with working with people, working on other people's time. It's a lot of waiting for things to get approved, waiting for things to get done, and also being disciplined enough to do the work. So getting up and actually editing podcasts, actually doing captions and all that stuff. And I'm gonna be really honest, y'all, I have not edited everything because it is so difficult to do this, because now this is the work that I am doing on my own, and it is very hard to to manage all of this. But I'm learning how to be a leader. I'm learning how to run my own business, because even though, I mean, it's a podcast, it's not necessarily a business. This is my entrepreneurship. It's still a business in a sense. And, you know, I take it very seriously, and I want to make sure that I'm providing quality content. So Candid Kick-It has really, like, I'm a perfectionist, so I get real in my head. But Candid Kick-It has taught me that ain't shit perfect. And it ain't gonna be perfect. And you just kind of gotta run with it and do what you can. And I saw this quote, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I saw this quote, and I'm probably gonna butcher it too, that said, sometimes, basically the gist of the quote was, sometimes you're not gonna have all your eggs gathered to cross the street. Sometimes you just gotta grab what you can and go. And I want to leave y'all with that quote, because for somebody like me, I have to see the full picture of everything. I have to know the beginning to the end. And if I don't know the beginning to the end, then it's hard for me to move forward in plans. And if I would have stayed in that mindset, then Candid Kick-It would have never came to fruition. Candid Kick-It wouldn't be what it is. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all. I wouldn't be preparing for session 2. You know, I wouldn't be doing all this stuff if I didn't just get up and go. And so I just really want to encourage y'all to follow your dreams, you know, and do what you're passionate about. Like, yes, we need money, y'all. You need money to live. Okay, I get it. But I think it's so important to find a way to make your passion your day job, to make your passion, to make your money work for you. Because to me, I think money is the root of all evil. I think money is the worst thing that we have ever implemented in this damn country, world, life, whatever. But that's not up to me, obviously. And we do need it to live, but you don't need money to be a good person. And you don't need money to be a happy person. I mean, yeah, it's so crazy because Drake popped up in my head. It popped in my head. You know, Western Road Flows. He said, money can't buy you happiness, jelly talking truthful, but I'm happiest when I can buy what I want and get high when I want. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's true. But y'all know what I mean. That at the end of the day, it should always be about what you're passionate about. You should always be doing what makes you happy. And you should always be, you know, doing shit that makes you feel good. That makes you feel good. That makes other people feel good. Because I feel like that's the only way we really gonna be happy in this shit. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in, for listening, watching. I just really appreciate it. I appreciate y'all being here and reposting and sharing and all that stuff. It really makes me feel so good. I am, again, continuing to work on not being in my head, and I want to keep providing content for y'all. So I'm going to keep pushing myself so that Candid Kick-It can continue to go on for however long. So if you are on the YouTube channel, you gotta like, subscribe, and share it with all your people. And if you are listening, I need you to share it with all your people as well, repost as well, because everybody needs to know about Candid Kick-It. I'm definitely gonna drop the social media handles below, but if you do not follow us already, if you do not know where to find us, it is at poetic.candids on Instagram. Thank y'all so much for being here. I hope that you all have a blessed rest of your week, and bye.